Hi YouTube, it's Ola Oluwaseyi. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is how to get a fashion internship, top 5 tips. So I had a video out about a week ago introducing myself to YouTube world. It was 10 random facts about me. Thank you to everybody that shared it. Thank you to everybody that viewed it. And here I am again with a more career orientated video. In my last video when I introduced myself, I said that my video is going to represent so many different things and the topics will vary. Today's about career, next video could be something else. So I'm going to start off with 5 points. I'm going to dabble in my experience as well because I think it could be useful to some people. And I'm talking from a place of somebody who's been through the fashion internship journey and is now working in the fashion career. Okay, so my first tip, if this is a pretty standard, pretty basic for any job, is to have a good CV and a covering letter. Without a good CV and a covering letter, you cannot do anything. So compile one, draft one, to the best of your ability. I would just throw in a few things. I don't think you can learn thoroughly of how to compose a great CV and covering letter just through a 5-minute YouTube clip. But I will tell you, explore new words using the thesaurus and synonyms whilst you're doing your CV and your covering letter. Reflect your personality, make it fun and interesting. Some people make the mistake, and I say this because I do recruitment at work as well. I hire people, and people make the mistake of using a very standard template. I'm a very impersonable person. Standard things that everybody else is saying in their CV and covering letter. So be creative. It's a creative industry. So be creative in your CV and covering letter. I would also suggest there's loads of people that can help you go over your CVs and proofread it. So there's places available depending on your age group. So if you're like 13 to your early 20s, or I think it's 13 to about 19, 20, there's Connections. I know they have one in South London, they have one in East London. So it's Connections, they're available for youth. They look at so many other things concerning the youth, and how to develop them and just assist them in things. But they do have a career facility as well. So you can always call them up and say, you know what, I have a CV and a covering letter and I need assistance. I just need someone to proofread it and make sure it's great and, you know, it stands out. Also, if you're at university, you have certain things like if you're studying fashion at university, get your lecturer to look at it for you. Don't be afraid. Get your lecturer to look at it for you. Get a classmate to look at it for you. I had a friend who was really, really good at grammar and English, and she was creative as well. So I got her to help me a lot with mine. When I was doing my internships, you can also go to your business department, so your business school area. We had a business school area in my university that I went to, and I went there and got them to proofread it a couple of times as well. I had to get them to do it until I was confident. I would say do not release that CV and covering letter, do not send them out until you look at them and you enjoy reading it. If you don't enjoy reading it, recruiters are not going to enjoy reading it. So I would say do that, send it to your business centres, business placements, and you can also send it to the job centre. So if you're not with a university, or you know you're above the age of that Connections assist, you can go to the job centre. Don't be shy, don't be scared. You can go to the job centre and they can assist you with your CV and covering letter. But yeah, so check out Connections, job centre, university, and get a friend to help you. Explore your language, be creative. That's your covering letter and your CV. Next point, where to find fashion internships. Where do you find these vacancies? Where are they advertised? So you can do simple things like Google them. Fashion internship in buying, fashion internship in merchandising, fashion internship in blah 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 blah. You can search for these vacancies. There's also a great website that I loved, was University of Arts London. Creative opportunities. They advertise there regularly. They are getting free promotion from me right now. They did not pay me to say this, so I don't get an American accent. But you can go onto their website. You can go through their website and they advertise jobs on a weekly basis. So definitely check that out. And I would also say one thing that I did when I was applying for fashion internships, I made a list of all the brands I wanted to work for. Burberry, Gucci, Paul Smith, all the brands I went to work for. I made a long list, and I went to every single job site to look for contact details. Who could I send my CV to? Because sometimes it's really not easy to find. So I looked for who I could send my contact details to, and anyone I could find, I would send it through to them. So I would say do that. Make a list of all the companies you want to work for. Go on their websites, check if they have internships available. Some companies don't advertise them. If you can't see them advertised, get email addresses and email those email addresses and say, excuse me, where can I find a fashion internship? Just keep going. You have to be so determined and persistent, and you will get there in the end. Follow up. So once you've sent your CV and your cover letter, it doesn't end there. You've got a lot of following up to do. So you need to call a lot of companies. Don't be shy. Fear has to die with this. So you have to call a lot of companies, call them up, say, hi, I sent a CV and a cover letter so and so ago, just wondering how you came along with it, how did it go? Send them an email. I would say send them an email first. Don't call them like every day, then you just become annoying. Just send them an email a couple of times until you send them an email, some phone calls, to just follow up and see how far they're going with the status of the application. So follow up is very, very important. I would even suggest creating an Excel sheet. I'm such an Excel freak. Creating an Excel sheet and just having almost like a tracker. Okay, I called these guys. I called Paul Smith on Tuesday the 23rd of March. And they said that they haven't seen my application yet. April, call Paul Smith. Didn't get a call back. Keep a tracker so you know the progress of things. So at least you know who you've called, who you haven't called. Because once you have that long list of everybody that you're going to be applying for jobs for, you might get a bit confused. So it's good to kind of lay everything down in a way that's clear and concise. Okay, so I would also advise you have to be really, really patient. Don't give up. You might not hear back when you want to. You might not hear back for a few months, but be patient and trust that that job will come, just as it did for me. Okay, point number 4. The best time to apply. There's a strategy to applying for jobs. There's a strategy as to when is the best time to get a job. When are you most likely to get a response? In fashion, you have Fashion Week. So Fashion Week tends to be in early Feb and September, mid-September. So the best times I found applying for fashion ships is in August, just before they start recruiting people. So if you want to work like during London Fashion Week and things like that, start looking for jobs during August. That's when they're looking for people to help with shows and so forth. And then to hopefully go on to be hired to work in September. Start applying for jobs in January to hopefully go on to be hired to work at shows in February. You have to be really strategic with it. And I think that's great if you want to start working at like fashion shows. So if you're, say, for example, you're interested in doing fashion PR, that is the timing that you need. If you're interested in buying, because buyers will be out and about around that season looking at shows, what to buy for the next collections, that is the type of time you need. Stylists are super busy at that time because they're styling celebrities to go to shows. That is a great time for you. These are great, these are like peak periods. So it's January and August. I'm not saying don't apply for jobs for other months of the year. Definitely still do. But these are periods when they need a lot more people than they normally have. When I worked in fashion internships, they might have 5 interns for the whole year. But during August, they hire another 15 just to help for 2 or 3 weeks during the fashion shows. And then they would let those people go and continue with the 5 that they had. Or if they really, really like someone, they might keep them on. So that's for like the peak seasons if you want to work in shows. I would also say still apply for internships during the summer, because if you're at university, you're in college and you have a summer break and you want to apply for internships, still apply for internships then. So those are best times to apply. You can still apply for them during your summer breaks and things like that. Point number 5 is networking. Network. There's a quote that says your network will determine your net worth. That's a good quote. That's a word. So that's basically saying the amount of people that you mix with and you blend with will determine your financial status. You've got to meet the right people. So Google events. What fashion and creative events are going on that I can attend to if you're trying to get into that industry? Who do you know that's a bit creative in your class and has knows a few places and knows a few people? Start hanging around with them. That's okay. Share projects with people. If you know somebody who's like-minded, people that know me know I love having conversations and talking and meeting up with like-minded people, people who are creative creative people, people who are fashion orientated, people who are business orientated. I love hanging out with them, and just people who are passionate about women. I love hanging out with them and just sharing our passions. And then we help people out and say, oh, actually, you know, I have an event going on. How about you come down? Oh, have you heard about this event? It's hard to keep track of all the events that are going on. So if you know people and you can have a conversation with them and they can introduce you to people or events, that fully works in your favor. And I got my first internship actually through networking. I worked at Selfridges. That's what happened actually. I worked at Selfridges. We had a designer there. The designer was called Sakina. It was quite a small brand. And the designer popped in to have a look at the clothing in the store, just to see how we were looking after his staff. I was a sales assistant at the time. And he popped in and I said, oh, hi, excuse me, Mr. Sakina. I'm really through networking. I worked at Selfridges. That's what happened actually. I worked at Selfridges. We had a designer there. The designer was called Sakina. It was quite a small brand. And the designer popped in to have a look at the clothing in the store, just to see how we were looking after his staff. I was a sales assistant at the time. And he popped in and I said, oh, hi, excuse me, Mr. Sakina. I'm really interested in doing a fashion internship. Do you have any positions going? And he said, okay, contact my assistant Gemma and she will get back to you. I contacted the system. I didn't hear back. I gave her a phone call. And she said, hi, are you available for an interview on so-and-so date? Pop in. I popped in. She was like, yeah, sure, you're hired. That's how I got my first fashion internship. And the thing about this industry is sometimes it can be a lose-lose situation, because they don't hire you if you haven't got experience, but you need to be hired in order to get experience. So for me, that was a great break for me, because I worked at Sakina for a good couple of months. After that, I was able to go on and get an internship at PPQ, and they hired me because I already had experience. Then I went to get an internship a fashion PR company, and it kind of just progressed from there. So network. You have to be fearless. You have to be fearless. Leave that alone. Let somebody else deal with that. This is your year of being confident, going head on, trusting and believing that this is for you. So if you are someone who's creatively inclined, you want to work in fashion, I really do hope this video is useful for you. If you have any questions or any queries, or there's anything else you want me to talk about in terms of like fashion careers, subscribe, make a comment, like, send me an email. Thank you, YouTubers. Until next time.